Good morning, this is Al. I wanted to do a quick video on how to reload the 4570 Government quickly and easily and inexpensively. We're going to be using the Lee loader, which is a self-contained kit that has everything that you need to reload ammunition. And I have these kits in different calibers. I have every caliber that I reload, I have one of these kits in addition to the regular dies for my presses. The beautiful thing about this kit is that it's self-contained, portable. I take it quite a bit to reload while I'm in a hotel room, for example, and it's only $30. And if you're starting to get into reloading, this is really all you need. It comes with instructions, as you can see here, and the instructions are quite good. Shows you all the components that are in the kit, shows you all of the steps that are needed for for reloading and how to use the kit, and also all the components and tips on ammunition components and how to make good ammo. It also comes with the specifications for the cartridge, in this case the 4570. Gives you the maximum trim length and the maximum overall length of the cartridge, and it has reloading data that you can follow here to reload your rounds with the bullet weights, like 300 weight or 300 grain, 405 grain, and so on, whether it's an older rifle or a new modern rifle. And the kit consists of a rod that is used to drive the primer into the case, as well as getting the case out of the sizing die. This is the sizing die, and the sizing die is you can screw it in or out to set the bullet depth. This is the ram for the bullet or the bullet seater, and if you look at the inside, it's radiused so that when you're driving the bullet into it, it doesn't deform the nose of the bullet. So it's just like any other reloading die, in the sense that it is made for putting the bullets in the case. It also has a base with a hole in it. This is the decapping chamber where you remove the primer. This is the primer punch, where you take the primer out, and it comes with a powder scoop. And the powder scoop is made for every specific kit. Comes with one. The reloading data in the kit is all made to use this one scoop. So if you follow the reloading data given here for 300 grain or 405 grain, whether it's a modern rifle or an older rifle, any one of these loads will use this particular scoop with the powders listed here, and you're going to be safe. So that's one of the nice things about this kit. So let's move it out to the side for a minute and kind of walk you through the steps on how to reload this ammunition. So we have some ammo here that already has a primer in it, and I'm going to show you how to deprime it. So as I was saying, these three rounds here, these three cases, already have primers in them because they've been shot. So we're going to be able to show you step by step how do you reload this ammo. The first thing is to put the case into the decapping chamber. Put the decapping rod in it, knock it a couple times, and the primer comes out. And then you do the same thing for all of them. Once the primer's out, the next step is to reprime it and resize it. So you simply put the case in the sizing die, and very easily goes in. Now you don't need to use lube on these cases, because this is a neck sizing die, and therefore it only sizes a small portion of the case, only where the bullet goes into it. And I'm going to show you that in just a minute. So then you take the new primer, put them in the priming tray here, or the priming tool, put the rod back in it, And now you have a prime case. Let me show you here. See the prime case? You put it here, and now we're getting ready to put the powder into it. What I'm using is a different scoop that came with the kit because I have a reloading manual that I can look up different loads. You can use a funnel for this, but if you're careful, you can get your powder in there just fine. And then put the bullet in there. Put the bullet sealer in place. And drive it in. Turn it around. And you're going to be able to crimp the case. The case is crimped. And it's good to go. That's one fully loaded round. So that's exactly the process that you need to use. Now, there are a couple other things that I didn't show you that do not come with the kit, which are over here. I'm going to show you that in a minute. So let's go ahead and move more fluidly through the next one. We're going to go ahead and remove the primer. Primer's out of that one. Now, once you fire the case a few times, they're going to expand and contract enough that the case will get longer. So what you want to do is you want to use this case trimming tool. Make sure that the length of the case is proper, and then you use this cutter to chamfer the inside of the case, bevel the outside of the case, so it's easy to load, and it's easy to load in the gun, and also easy for the bullet to go into the case. So the primer's out. We're going to put a new primer in the priming chamber here. Do this again. Put the rod in it. The case is primed. Put it in here. Get some powder. Put the powder in there really well. Get a bullet. Seat the bullet into it, and now you'll see, because I beveled it, that bullet will go in a lot easier than it did before. See that? Now turn it around and you crimp the case to it. So that's one fully loaded round right there, 4570. Now that kit costs $30. The hammer itself, the plastic face hammer, it's only about I think it's $15, $10 to $15. The one thing that you should know is that you need to make sure that you use a plastic face hammer. If you use a regular steel hammer on the decapping pin and the other pin or the other rod, what's going to happen is that you're going to damage the rods. You're going to flare them out on the top of mushroom these rods out. They won't work well for you in the future. Now we're going to go ahead and put the powder in this one as well. There we go, powder's in it. Now we'll put the bullet in it, and we'll crimp that bullet in there. Now, how do you know you have the right bullet depth? Well, that's easy. You can take a factory round, for example. Let's say that this was a factory round. Make the investment the first time of buying some factory ammunition with the same grain weight that you're going to be reloading. This is a 300 grain. So what I want to do then is I want to put that round here, and then I'm going to use this bullet punch to help me set the right height. So if I turn this down, for example, you'll see that there's a gap now between the sizing die and this punch for the bullet seating. And so now what I want to do is I want to turn this out until the die just touches, and you'll see when it starts turning, that's the perfect size or the perfect length for it. Now next time I go and drive a bullet down into the case, it will be exactly the same dimension as that factory round. So that's one way of doing it if you don't have calipers. If you have calipers, obviously it's very easy to adjust this die in and out, and then measure with the caliper to make sure you have the right cartridge length. But that's it. It's a very simple tool. All you need outside of this tool is the case trim gauge to make sure you trim the cases to the proper dimension, and you want a case chamfer tool so you can bevel the end of the case to make the bullet insertion easier. Outside of that, there's nothing else for you to purchase. One thing that I did is I bought a kit from Lee that gives me about a dozen, probably more than a dozen scoops of different sizes, and that allows me to go look up in a manual a given load and use a scoop size that is appropriate for the load that I'm trying to use. In this case, I didn't use the scoop that came with the kit, which is a 3.1 cc. I used 2 scoops larger than that. I went to a 3.7 because of the powder that I'm using. That is an adequate load. Now, nothing that I showed you here in my loads or the type of powder or the scoops that I'm using, you shouldn't replicate anything that I'm doing because every rifle is different. So make sure that you're working from a good reloading manual. Follow the instructions from the manual, and you'll be safe. Nonetheless, if all you want to do is follow these instructions here with a given scoop they give you, all of your loads will be safe and they will all shoot well. So that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. God bless. Take care.